James Montgomery stood in the Earth Defense Council's command center, staring at the enormous alien spacecraft hovering menacingly over the city. The room buzzed with urgent discussions and commands as President Rachel Thompson's voice cut through the noise. "We have a choice to make. Surrender or fight." James clenched his fists, his mind racing back to his father's sacrifice in the earlier war. He knew the stakes and what the Empire's demand meant. Beside him, Lieutenant Sarah Jenkins, his trusted second-in-command, shared a glance that conveyed mutual resolve. The holographic projection of Lord Vala, the Empire's envoy, loomed large. "Earth must kneel or face annihilation," he declared with an air of finality. James stepped forward, his voice steady and firm. "We will not surrender. We will fight." His declaration set the room abuzz with renewed energy and determination. President Thompson nodded, her expression a mix of worry and hope. "Prepare the fleet, Captain Montgomery. We're counting on you." As the meeting adjourned, James moved quickly, issuing orders and coordinating the fleet's preparation. He met briefly with Dr. Elias Greenwood, the eccentric yet brilliant engineer responsible for the fleet's advanced technology. "Elias, we need everything ready. No room for errors." Elias gave a confident nod. "Our systems are the best, James. We'll give them a fight they won't forget." Hours later, the fleet was ready. As they ascended into space, the sense of urgency was palpable, each crew member understanding the gravity of their mission. James addressed his team over the intercom. "We're not just defending Earth, we're protecting our future. Stay focused and trust in our training." The human fleet approached the Empire's armada, and the battle commenced. Explosions lit up the dark expanse of space as ships engaged in fierce combat. Despite being outnumbered, the human fleet's strategic maneuvers and technological edge began to show their worth. James directed the operations with precision, his eyes scanning multiple screens and readouts. "Focus fire on their command ship. Disrupt their coordination," he commanded. The human ships responded with synchronized attacks, causing significant damage to the enemy. Suddenly, an alarm blared. "Incoming message," Sarah reported. The screen revealed a coded message suggesting a mole within their ranks. James felt a chill run down his spine. "Find the source of that transmission," he ordered. "We can't afford any more surprises." Amidst the chaos of battle, a sense of betrayal gnawed at James. Someone on the inside was jeopardizing their mission. As he strategized, he couldn't shake the thought of who it might be and what their motives were. The battle raged on and losses mounted. James made quick, tough decisions, sending reinforcements where needed and adapting tactics on the fly. His leadership was tested, and he felt the weight of every life lost. Yet, the human spirit and determination were evident in every move his fleet made. Sarah's voice broke through his thoughts. "James, we've traced the source. It's Lieutenant Carter." James felt a mix of anger and disbelief. Carter, a trusted officer, was the traitor. "Bring him to the brig," he ordered. "We'll deal with him after the battle." As the fight continued, the human fleet managed to disable several key enemy ships. The tide seemed to be turning, but James knew better than to become complacent. He directed his fleet with renewed vigor, determined to push back the invaders. In a bold maneuver, James ordered a direct assault on the Empire's flagship. The human ships converged, focusing their firepower. The flagship's defenses crumbled under the relentless barrage, and explosions rippled across its hull. With the flagship disabled, the Empire's forces began to retreat. James allowed himself a brief moment of relief. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. Returning to Earth, James and his team faced the fallout from the battle and the betrayal. Lieutenant Carter, now imprisoned, would answer for his actions. James couldn't help but wonder what other challenges lay ahead. James Montgomery paced the bridge of his flagship, the Vanguard, as the stars outside streaked by. They were on course to meet the Empire's armada, a confrontation that would determine Earth's fate. His crew worked with practiced precision, the air filled with the sounds of beeping consoles and muted conversations. Lieutenant Sarah Jenkins approached, her face etched with concern. Captain, all systems are green. Our ships are ready, but our numbers are still a fraction of theirs. James nodded, his mind already strategizing. We don't need to outnumber them, Sarah. We just need to outthink them. Their preparation was meticulous. Dr. Elias Greenwood had ensured their ships were equipped with the latest innovations. The adaptive shields, which Elias had tirelessly refined, could withstand and counter the Empire's formidable weaponry. James trusted in his crew's skills and their technology. As they neared the enemy fleet, the Vanguard sensors picked up the Empire's ships. The sheer scale of the armada was daunting, yet James remained focused. "Prepare for engagement," he ordered, his voice steady. The initial clash was fierce. Human ships darted through the blackness, evading enemy fire and striking with precision. James directed the fleet with the expertise of a seasoned commander, coordinating maneuvers and counterattacks. His strategies exploited the Empire's predictable tactics, turning their own strengths against them. Sarah's voice cut through the comms. "Captain, the Nemesis is hit. They're losing power." James reacted instantly. "Redirect fire to cover them. Deploy repair drones." Despite their best efforts, the human fleet took heavy losses. Each ship destroyed weighed on James, but he couldn't afford to hesitate. The lives of billions depended on their success. Amid the chaos, James noticed a pattern in the enemy's movements. The Empire's flagship, heavily protected, was directing the fleet's actions. "Sarah, if we take out their command ship, we can disrupt their coordination." Sarah nodded. "Agreed. I'll relay the orders." The Vanguard and several other ships broke off, focusing their assault on the flagship. The enemy ship's defenses were formidable, but Elias's enhancements gave them an edge. Their targeted strikes began to weaken its shields. Suddenly, an alert blared through the bridge. "Incoming transmission," Sarah reported. The screen displayed a face James hadn't expected to see. Lieutenant Carter, shackled but defiant, glared at him. "Captain, you think you're so clever, but the Empire knows your every move." James's eyes narrowed. "Carter, why?" Carter sneered. "The Empire promised power and position. You and the Council are too weak to understand what's necessary for survival." James's anger simmered beneath his calm exterior. "You've betrayed everything we stand for, but it's not too late to make amends. Help us, and you might find redemption." Carter's expression wavered, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. Before he could respond, the transmission was cut off by enemy fire. The Vanguard shuddered under the impact. "Focus on the flagship," James ordered. "We end this now." With renewed determination, the human ships concentrated their fire. The Empire's flagship began to falter under the relentless assault. Explosions rippled along its hull as its defenses crumbled. James felt a surge of hope. All ships, full attack. Push them back. The Empire's fleet, suddenly leaderless and disoriented, began to retreat. Human ships pressed their advantage, driving the invaders away from Earth. As the last of the enemy ships disappeared into the void, a weary cheer erupted on the Vanguard's bridge. James allowed himself a moment of relief. They had won this battle, but the cost had been high. Sarah approached him, a hint of a smile on her face. "We did it, James." He nodded, looking around at his crew. "We did, but we can't let our guard down. This is far from over." Back on Earth, James faced the consequences of the battle. The damage was extensive, and the betrayal had left deep scars. Lieutenant Carter, now imprisoned, would face justice. James couldn't help but wonder how many more challenges lay ahead. In the command center, President Thompson addressed the nation. "We have shown the Empire that we will not bow. Our strength lies in our unity and resolve. Today we have defended our home. Tomorrow we prepare for what comes next." James Montgomery sat in his quarters aboard the Vanguard, staring at the reports of their recent victory. The cost had been high, but Earth was safe for now. His thoughts were interrupted by a message from President Thompson. "James, we need to discuss the next steps. Meet me in the briefing room." James arrived to find Sarah Jenkins and Dr. Elias Greenwood already there. President Thompson's holographic image addressed them. We've intercepted intel suggesting the Empire is regrouping. We can't afford to wait for their next move. We need to strike first. Elias leaned forward, his eyes bright with ideas. I've been working on a new stealth technology that could allow us to infiltrate their flagship undetected. If we can disable their command structure, we might gain the upper hand. James considered this. It's a risky move, but it's our best shot. We need a small, elite team to carry out the mission. Sarah nodded. I'll assemble the team. We leave as soon as possible. Hours later, James, Sarah, and Elias, along with a hand-picked group of the fleet's best soldiers, boarded a stealth ship and set course for the Empire's stronghold. The journey was tense, each member of the team acutely aware of the dangers ahead. As they approached the enemy territory, Elias activated the new stealth systems. The ship glided silently past enemy sensors, undetected. They docked with the Empire's flagship, and the team moved swiftly, their movements synchronized and efficient. Inside the enemy vessel, the atmosphere was oppressive, and the corridors were eerily silent. James led the way, his senses heightened, every shadow a potential threat. They reached the central command hub and set to work planting charges on key systems. Suddenly, alarms blared. Their presence had been detected. Imperial soldiers swarmed the area, and the team engaged in a fierce firefight. James and Sarah coordinated their efforts, covering each other as they advanced. Elias worked frantically on the main control console, attempting to upload a virus that would cripple the ship systems. Sweat dripped from his brow as he bypassed security protocols. Just a few more seconds, he muttered. James took down another soldier and glanced at Elias. We don't have a few more seconds. Hurry! Elias hit the final key, and the lights flickered as the virus took hold. The ship shuddered as systems began to fail. The team fought their way back to the stealth ship, explosions rocking the flagship behind them. As they escaped, James felt a surge of relief. The mission had been successful, but the fight was far from over. Back on the Vanguard, they reviewed the data they had retrieved. The Empire's next target was revealed: a hidden human colony with advanced technology. President Thompson's face appeared on the screen. We need to warn the colony and prepare for the Empire's assault. James, you and your team have done incredible work, but we need you now more than ever. James nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. We'll be ready. We won't let them fall. The Vanguard set course for the colony, every crew member driven by a renewed sense of purpose. They knew the battle ahead would be even more challenging, but they were prepared to face it. As they approached the colony, the sense of urgency grew. The Empire's ships were already on the horizon. James rallied his crew, their resolve unshaken. This is our moment. We stand together, and we fight for our future. The Vanguard emerged from warp space, the hidden human colony coming into view on the monitors. James Montgomery stood at the bridge, his eyes fixed on the screen. He knew the Empire's fleet would arrive soon. They had little time to prepare. President Thompson's image appeared on the communication display. Captain Montgomery, the colony is being evacuated, but we need more time. You must hold the line. James nodded, his resolve firm. Understood, Madam President. We'll do everything we can. Sarah Jenkins joined him, her expression determined. The colony's defenses are minimal. We'll have to rely on our fleet's firepower and strategy. Dr. Elias Greenwood appeared next, a tablet in hand. I've managed to boost our shields using some of the colony's technology. It won't make us invincible, but it should buy us some extra time. The crew sprang into action, each member knowing their role. The Vanguard took up a defensive position, its sister ships forming a protective barrier around the colony. As the first Imperial ships dropped out of warp, the battle began. Laser fire and missiles lit up the void, creating a chaotic spectacle. James directed his fleet with precision, targeting key enemy vessels to disrupt their formations. The Empire's ships were powerful, but the human fleet's coordinated efforts managed to hold them at bay. As the battle raged on, the situation grew more dire. The Empire's relentless assault began to wear down the human ships. The Vanguard took several hits, and the strain was evident on the crew's faces. Yet they fought on, driven by a fierce determination to protect the colony. In the midst of the conflict, a new threat emerged. The Empire deployed a massive warship, bristling with advanced weaponry. It dwarfed the other ships, its presence a menacing reminder of the Empire's might. James made a swift decision. All units focus fire on that warship. We need to take it down, or we won't stand a chance. The human fleet redirected its attacks, bombarding the colossal vessel. The enemy ship's shields held strong, but the concentrated assault began to take its toll. Explosions erupted along its surface as the shields finally buckled. However, the warship unleashed a devastating counterattack. Several human ships were obliterated in an instant. The Vanguard shook violently as it absorbed the impact, alarms blaring throughout the ship. Sarah's voice came through the comms, steady despite the chaos. "Captain, we can't sustain this much longer. We need a plan." James glanced at Elias, who was furiously typing on his tablet. "Elias, can you hack into their systems? Disable their weapons." Elias nodded, his fingers flying across the screen. "I'm on it. Just keep them busy for a few more moments." The Vanguard and its remaining allies continued their assault, drawing the warship's fire. Elias worked tirelessly, his face illuminated by the glow of his tablet. After what felt like an eternity, he looked up, triumph in his eyes. "Got it. Their weapons are offline." James seized the opportunity. "All ships, give it everything you've got." The human fleet unleashed a final, devastating barrage. The Empire's warship shuddered under the impact, its hull breaking apart. A massive explosion marked its end, the debris scattering into the void. Cheers erupted on the Vanguard's bridge, but James knew the fight wasn't over. The remaining Imperial ships, though fewer in number, were still a threat. He ordered his fleet to press the attack, not giving the enemy a chance to regroup. Slowly but surely, the tide turned. The Empire's forces began to retreat, unable to withstand the ferocity of the human assault. As the last enemy ship disappeared from the sensors, a weary silence settled over the bridge. President Thompson's voice broke the silence. "Captain Montgomery, you and your team have saved countless lives today. The colony is safe, thanks to your bravery and skill." James allowed himself a moment of relief, but he knew this victory came at a great cost. Many brave souls had been lost, and the battle scars would take time to heal. He looked around at his crew, seeing the exhaustion and pride in their faces. Sarah stepped forward, her eyes meeting his. "We did it, James. We held the line." He nodded, feeling the weight of their achievement. "Yes, we did. But we must stay vigilant. The Empire won't give up easily." Dr. Elias Greenwood approached, a rare smile on his face. "For now, though, we can take a moment to breathe. We've earned that much." As the Vanguard set a course back to Earth, James reflected on the battle. They had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. The human spirit, their unity and determination, had proven stronger than the Empire's might.